Jesus, not so much.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Araya Swift Lifestyle Pro Series here, live from Gateway for race number 7. This is the Gateway Arch 140. I'm Ernest Levy, your lead announcer, and joining me as always in the booth, our right-hand man Jacob Bell and producer Harold Darner. How's it going, guys?
Going really good, man. I'm happy to be back. We had a week off last week for Thanksgiving break, and we come back here at a very, very interesting racetrack, and I think we're going to see a lot of fireworks tonight at Gateway.
Not just at Gateway, but in the background you see the Gateway Arch, which is in fact the name of the race, the Gateway Arch 140. That's a great shot there of the city of St. Louis. Very close to the racetrack.
All the way across the river, though.
Yeah.
There's a big river between that you can't see, because that would be the Mississippi there, since we're on the Illinois side of St. Louis.
Yeah, that's nonetheless, that's a great shot there. And yeah, great shot there. Gateway Arch, you see, then the skyline in the background. But then closer, you see there's some grandstands, and beneath those grandstands sits a 1.25-mile racetrack in Madison, Illinois. Kind of an interesting one here because turns, although they're not banked, they're banked differently. Turn 1 and 2, banked at around 11 degrees, and then there's no banking on either straight. So then when you get into turn 3 and 4, it's down to about 9 degrees. But nonetheless, this is a racetrack that's proven to be a tough one to tame here, as we've seen throughout the practice session. And should be some great racing here tonight.
Oh, it reminds me of a reverse Darlington, actually, because it's got that egg shape going on. But it's in turns 1 and 2 that you have the shorter end, and the bit wider end is in 3 and 4. Kind of flipped from the Darlington side.
Yeah, it's shaped in and ran in what Darlington used to be.
Yep, the old
turns
way.
1 and 2 used to be 3 and 4, and then vice versa.
Exactly. And I don't recommend sitting in the chicken bone seats on the back stretch of Darlington. I did that one year. that's covered in dirt and debris. But it was cool. It was really loud, and it was the first night race at Darlington when we did a Mother's Day.
I'm liking how you can see the cars on the highways going by on the bottom side of the screen, and then you see the go-kart track they got on the inside. People saying we should probably race that go-kart track here pretty soon tonight, but I think it's an interesting looking racetrack, a lot of different variables to it. For a while, racing these ARCA cars here, there wasn't necessarily a fixed setup, and a lot of people were using baseline in a few different leagues we've been a part of, and a lot of them were shifting, between third and fourth gear. We might even see that still. I'm not entirely sure what the RPMs are looking like tonight, but nonetheless, this track is going to be interesting, I think, Hunter.
Indeed, it will be, and it will be certainly most interesting for last week's winner, Rick Christensen, as he looks to start a little winning streak here. He won last week at Nashville. Very great win for him and everyone over there. Oh, there you see, that's the 33 of Scott. But it was a great win for Rick Christensen, and we're in the second half of the season, the regular season that is, and there you see the 19 of Christensen. But we're in the second half of the regular season. Only 6 more races left. Some drivers, as I like to call, making their playoff push. Who's going to be those drivers that are determined and have the effort to make the playoffs?
Yeah, this is crunch time, right? Once you get to that second half of the regular season, all those people that don't have wins yet, they're going to start getting a little bit more antsy to try to get to victory lane, because they know that's their only way to lock themselves into the playoffs. And because of that, it's going to lead to some exciting racing at the front of the field. I expect a lot of different strategies too, especially with those guys that are in the back half of the top 10. One of the only ways they might think at least that they can get themselves up front is to try something else on pit lane. So that'll be something to keep our eyes out for as well.
Yeah, especially if you're a driver that's way below the cutoff line, because the further you are in points, the slimmer and slimmer the margin of error is.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll get a chance to look at our playoff picture here in just a moment, as there we go, presented by Elwood Designs, which he's done an awesome job all season cooking up these graphics, and this one's even cooler. Gives you a real good idea of what exactly the bracket's looking like and how it's going to shape up. Right now, you see Matthew Robinson, that is, Jordan Hurley, Nick Halda, and Rick Christensen. Those 4 drivers are locked in, as they got the little lock inside the round of 12. Those are the only drivers right now in the field, though, who are locked into the playoffs already. Everybody else, from Brian Dixon on down, still have to either try to fight their way into the playoffs or hold their spot inside that top 12 for the moment. And when you look, that playoff picture is getting pretty tight, Harold. Gary Lewis, 6 points back. Caleb Steimer, 9 points back. And then Sean Corcoran and Rick Ward are just outside looking to get in as well.
You start getting into some tighter racing towards the end. Experience on this track. I know, Jake, you probably done some. I've actually done a lot of Indy kart racing on the iRacing server here. I actually was invited to the Bombadero race with real life racing legend guys like Connor Daly. Man, I'm going to mess up everybody's name, right? So his roommate. Oh, golly. See, I'm going to mess up all who I was racing with, but a lot of the Indy guys, I was out here with quite a few of those guys. And as you were talking about shifting, in those, we have 6 gears in those cars. We were definitely shifting different in 1 and 2 than in 3 and 4. 3 and 4 was almost wide open, but we had to brake heavily into 1 and 2 because of the very low banking and the radius being really sharp.
Yeah, so like I said, I think, going back to the playoff picture with that in mind, these drivers are going to have a lot on the line tonight to try to, manage the shifting, manage this racetrack. As you mentioned there, it's going to be a difficult one. When you look outside of that top 4 drivers that are locked in right now, I think one of the names that kind of jumps out is Eli Green in the number 28 car. Again, he missed last week. He's also not here tonight, and that's going to put him on the bubble on the outside looking in going forward. So we'll have to see how his season shakes out. Another driver, James Shanewolf there. He's the 3rd name in yellow who's right now in the playoffs, but I'm sure he'll be another one of those guys looking for a win. And when you look at the practice times, Dominic DeLeo is 2nd on the charts in practice, but he's not even in the playoff picture at the moment.
He's
got to move himself. He's got to move himself up. The Hunter's back.
Yeah, he always seems to have a fast car for practice, always seems to have practice dialed in, but then when it comes to race time, just seems to fade through the pack, and really something that looking forward to see if Dominic DeLeo has fixed in the off week. Almost said off season. Every off week feels like an off season.
Well,
But it'll be interesting to see if he is one of the drivers that makes their playoff push.
I was gonna mention on top of that with Dom DeLeo, last week, or I guess last race, 2 weeks ago, that was when we headed over to Nashville Super Speedway. That was actually one of the best put together races we've seen from Dominic DeLeo all season long. He qualified sixth. He ran inside the top 10 a majority of the race, and then brought it home with his first career top 10. The problem for DeLeo right now is he finds himself in the 19th spot in points. So he's got to get all the way inside that top 12 if he's going to try to make it in our points, or else the other option, of course, Hunter, is to get a victory here in these next 6 races.
Yeah, and that's something that not only he's looking forward to, but everyone else is looking for that coveted win, because then it alleviates all the pressure off your shoulders, and then you get to relax a little bit before you start in the playoffs that we got. Which, that being said, the first of which, the playoff races, will be at Atlanta. Then we go to Richmond, Michigan, Kansas, and then we have the championship race at Phoenix.
Yeah, I was going to mention, the championship race being at Phoenix. This is probably one of the most similar tracks we're going to get, really, for these guys compared to Phoenix Raceway. We have Richmond coming up as well, which is one of the races inside of the playoffs. That's also a shorter track, but pretty different when it comes to Phoenix. Phoenix is about as unique as it gets. But tonight might provide some insight on who will be fast there if they're fast here tonight.
And Harold, you mentioned it just as the broadcast started, that Gateway is kind of like a reverse Darlington. Well, the next track we go to is Darlington.
That might be a precursor for what we're going to see there. Well, you said they're flipped in consideration. It's the old style with the shorter end on the turbo. I don't know if anybody knows why Gateway was actually developed this way. I know Darlington was because of the minnow pond, and the guy that owned the minnow pond unwavering about letting them build on his land.
My only assumption could be for maybe that highway that you see down the backstretch. Maybe it was there before the track was. Not too sure, but it provides a unique feature to this racetrack.
How about this, Hunter? Last minute entry right before qualifying starts. Eli Green is in the house, so we'll get to see the number 28 car tonight. As I was just talking about him, I'm not sure if you were back there when I was mentioning it, but he's inside the playoffs just by a few points right now, so he really can't afford to miss another race. But he will be here tonight. We got, I think, 24 drivers total that are going to take the green flag, and practice is wrapping up as we speak.
Yep, practice is going to come to a close, and that will start our 10-minute qualifying session in which each driver gets 2 laps around this 1.25-mile track. And we've seen a number of times throughout the session, drivers smacking the wall coming out of turn 4, again, loose coming off turn 4. So looking for turn 4 to be a treacherous part of the track. And if that's the case, if you slip up and collide with the wall on the outside or inside, your lap time will not count. If that happens on the second lap, then you got to settle with what you got on the first lap. It's the first of, I believe, 24 cars. It's Forrest Smith in the 84.
Yeah, Forrest has had a pretty good season since he came in, running with, of course, the One Mind to Design folks. But honestly, ever since we've seen the 84 show up, which I believe he missed just the first race of the season. I'm trying to fact check that really quick. Yeah, so he just missed the first race of the season. And since then, in 5 races, he's got 4 top 10s, and he's worst finish was a 20th place, which was last race at Nashville. So he's looking for a rebound here tonight, Hunter.
Exactly, and a perfect time to have a rebound after 2 weeks ago, basically, that Nashville race, which did not get a good finish at. Had an off week to think about it. I could be like, okay, what do I need to do to improve myself, improve my team, and could see it here tonight.
And on the flip side of that, in the first ever Swift Lifestyle Pro Series power rankings over on AreaRacing.com, it dropped him down to 9th in the power rankings. So maybe that's on his mind too, as he completes his first lap here. And it's going to be a 34.6 for Forrest Smith, and that'll put him at the top of the charts. Only one to post the time so far.
Yep, his teammate Gary Lewis qualified just behind him at a .697. At the top right of the screen, you'll be seeing that flicker of the driver going to first throughout the qualifying session. If anyone's able to dethrone Forrest Smith. So he works his way through turns 3 and 4 for his second qualifying lap. Just as we mentioned it, that's last week's winner, Rick Christensen, jumping up to the top.
Yeah, that 34.3 that Rick Christensen just ran, that's going to be a really, really hard lap time to beat. Quickest lap we saw in practice was Matthew Robinson with a 34.35, and he was the only driver to do so. So good first lap there for the 19 car.
Looking throughout the board here, seeing who's put up lap times. Sean Corcoran just jumped up to third on the chart. There's 87 and Nick Halda. The winner at Daytona, the first ever winner in any of the Araya series.
Yeah, I actually laughed as I was reading through the power rankings on the website as well. That was mentioned, and the way it was worded made me chuckle quite a bit about Nicholas Halda, who actually was surprisingly, he was fifth in the power rankings. And it said, make sure you know that he was the first ever ARIA winner for your bar night trivia. And I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, look at that throwback to National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation on that car.
Oh, that's such a great movie. And it is basically Christmas time now that Thanksgiving's over.
Could be the new primary here.
He's got the RV hooked up to his fuel tank. I don't know if that's a good place to have it. He might be trying to get a little extra help here.
That little extra help got him up to second on his first lap. Actually, that was the second lap. My apologies. Jumps up to second on the chart, 34.584.
That's a strong run for Halda there.
There's James Shane Wolf.
Really interesting. Yeah, I was going to say really interesting watching the lines throughout turns 1 and 2 and just see how hard it is to get that exit off the corner, get as close to the wall as you can without hitting it at all. It's going to be a challenge all night long for these drivers, with turns 1 and 2, I think, really being the tricky part of the racetrack.
Don't count out turn 4. That seems to be a treacherous spot also. Gets through turn 4 just fine. We'll see what lap time number 31 car puts up. Jumps up to fourth for James Shane Wolf.
How about third place, Hunter? The 51 car, Mark Patterson, in only his second start in the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. That's a pretty sharp lap time for Mark Patterson. His teammate Dominic DeLeo now completing his first lap. We'll see if he's got any of that speed as well in the number 21 car.
Yeah, DeLeo always has speed in practice. Looking to see if he can carry that through to qualifying. He has a really high 1 and 2.
Now, this cutout you see next to Dom DeLeo, you can see that it's big in the graphic. It has an invisible wall just 10 feet off of the racing surface, and anybody getting in there will shoot them back out on the racetrack. So keep an eye on that tonight, too. It's in the middle of the backstretch. It's like pinball. You hit up in there and you get sent back towards the infield wall.
Well, DeLeo on his first lap jumps it to 8th with a 34.768. Here's Adam Capps in the 55.
You know, I don't know if I can speak to it enough, man. Mark Patterson, that third place qualifying effort is super impressive. Last week, he qualified 15th at Nashville and finished the race 21st, 2 laps down. So really big improvement so far from last week's race at Nashville to this week's race at Gateway for the number 51 car. I'm sure Fizikis Motorsports is very happy with that.
They're also happy. Dominic DeLeo just went up to third, dethroning Mark Patterson with a 34.587. Adam Capps there got a little squirrely coming off turn 4. He's going to put his car 10th with a 34.814. Looked like he almost clipped the wall. So he gets a loose there, and he's going to spin the car out, and that's going to do it for him. Just kisses the outside wall, and that 34.814, only time he'll put up.
The Fracas guys looked like they might have taken that extra time over the off break to really work on this track.
There's Matthew Robinson in the 40. Had a really high approach through turns 3 and 4. This is coming to his green flag lap.
I think a lot of the field right now is watching 2 drivers during qualifying. One of them, this number 40 of Matthew Robinson, and the other being the 02 of Jordan Hurley. Those 2 drivers have seemed to have been probably the quickest 2 all season long. We'll see what Robinson can do on his first lap.
Yeah, really shocked that Jordan Hurley's yet to qualify yet. Good better drivers have yet to go out there.
Robinson's finishing his lap now. I see Hurley coming out on track as well.
Hurley's the one you got to watch out for because he'll dethrone your pole time. And speaking of the pole time, there goes Robinson to the pole, 34.337. Dethrones Rick Christensen. You mentioned that was a pretty good lap time from him and stood up for almost 7 minutes. Or actually 6 minutes, anywhere in between there. And there's the O2 of Hurley getting a little loose there through turn 3 and 4. This is coming to his green flag lap.
And you see,
like he's going to stop it. Yep.
I was going to mention, you see how slow he had to slow down there, because on the flip side of that, if you just jam the brakes and try to stop your car to reset for qualifying, there's a good chance you're going to get DQ'd, because iRacing has a severe qualifying scrutiny on. And because of that, if you slam the brakes, they might think you're trying to heat up the tires, and you could get the black flag before you even start your lap. And here comes the O2 now. He's going to try to reset and get that qualifying run in now.
Speaking of qualifying run, the one of Trevor Williams qualified 8th. He's got a 34.635. Close lap times here.
Well, you see the big margin actually is between second and third, almost 2/10 between Rick Christensen and second and third place Nicholas Halda.
Yeah, after that, it's pretty close between third and 10th down.
Absolutely.
All right, so there's Jordan Hurley going down, taking a green flag lap.
The only Dodge in the field.
Yeah, only Dodge.
Well, they're all Arca. They're all Chevys. As far as car racing, they're all Chevys, but they will change up in the templates so that they don't say that. But we'll give it to them. Creativity to make it a Dodge. How about that?
Creativity indeed. There's the O2 coming down the line. What's he going to put up for his first lap? P6 on the board for Jordan Hurley.
Wow.
606.
I don't think I expected that for his first lap, especially since we've seen the first lap be quicker all night long.
Well, he did get a little loose there through 3 and 4 on the opening laps. I would assume first lap be a little cautious, then the second lap here might go all out.
In his 4 races, he's gotten 3 poles and a third place starting spot. I don't know if we'll be able to match that tonight.
Only one way to find out is he comes across the line. Less than 30 seconds to go here in qualifying. And
of course.
Jumps up to third. 34.502 for Jordan Hurley. It's not pole, but third will do. And 4 drivers have not put out a lap time. Those being Caleb Steimer, Brian Dixon, Nolan Neiman, and JJ Wang. And I'll do it for qualifying. So the front row, you're going to have Matthew Robinson on the pole. And then on his, I believe, outside, last week's winner, Rick Christensen. Getting a little ahead of myself here as we start to grid up, and we'll get our starting lineup here for you for tonight's Gateway Arch 140. As I mentioned just about 5 seconds ago, Matthew Robinson, your pole sitter, and alongside him on the outside, last week's winner, Rick Christensen.
Jordan Hurley is going to roll off from P3, his 5th consecutive top 3 starting spot. Alongside on his outside is going to be the 87 of Nick Halda.
Starting in row number 3, got teammates. Dominic DeLeo on the inside, and then to his outside is the 51 of Mark Patterson.
James Shanewolf is going to roll off inside of row 4. Outside of him is going to be the 84 of Forrest Smith.
Row 5, we'll find the 1 of Trevor Williams, and alongside him, the 22 of Sean Corcoran.
Row 6, starting 11th, is going to be Gary Lewis, and starting 12th is Michael Lipe in the 26th.
Row 7, we'll find Adam Capps starting 13th, and alongside him, Brandon Hedrick starting in the 14th spot.
Jeremy Horn in the number 81. Be curious to see if he makes any noise tonight. Outside of him is going to be the 66 car of Bobby Tinch.
In the next row, row number 9, you'll find 3 of Kevin Hayes, and alongside him, the 92 of Dustin Carroll.
Eli Green is going to start 19th tonight, and starting outside of him, the last driver to post qualifying time, the 34 car of Rick Ward.
And then your last 2 rows here, drivers who did not put out a lap for qualifying. Brian Dixon starting 21st, alongside him, Nolan Neiman 22nd. And then in the last row, we'll find Caleb Steimer, the 18, and then JJ Wang, next to him, and that'll make up our 24 car field here tonight.
Well, when we get to picks here, Hunter, I will say I've been pretty hot with my picks, so I'm gonna let you guys go first.
After my jinx last week, I am deciding not to do picks.
No picks? Come on.
No, I am a firm believer in the
king
commentator's curse.
I'm the king of the commentator's curse, and I kept going.
Well, who you guys got?
You know, I'm gonna take Jordan Hurley for this one, coming out of the third spot.
Well, that's who I picked last week, and I gave him the curse.
I'm not going to do the flashy one. I'll cut right to it. I'm taking Matthew Robinson, the number 40, to pull into victory lane tonight.
Got 115 laps here slated for us. Pace truck's going to make that hard left turn on the pit road, and Matthew Robinson, Rick Christensen, going to lead these guys down into turn 1. Race number 7 here. It's the playoff push in the second half of the season in the Arias Swift Lifestyle Pro Series.
Good start for Robinson. He's going to jump out, take a commanding lead about 3 car lengths over Jordan Hurley. Christensen back to third, and they're stacked up double wide behind him.
Yep, Jordan Hurley got some competition there, as it looks like the third place car, Rick Christensen, looking to the inside. He's headed turn 3 and 4. So it looked like Hurley might have shut the door, and he did.
Well, you got
Matthew Robinson jumping to a big lead. It's almost the second, and we're just completing the first lap.
I was going to say, you got the bonus point for qualifying on pole. Now you get another bonus point for lead in a lap. 3 wide back here outside the top 5, Hunter.
Yeah, that's not really going to work unless one of the guys backs off. And speaking of back off, we got a problem there. Looked like Rick Christensen might have gotten a little loose coming off turn 2. He's losing a ton of spots.
Yeah, he got super sideways there coming off of turn 2. I think that's something we'll see all night long. I don't think it's just going to be Rick Christensen by the end of this thing.
There's the car you saw last time around. Was on the outside of that 3 wide situation going into turn 1. Mark Patterson had to back it out and lost quite a bit of spots.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was a little nervous watching Mark Patterson, qualify so well. I wasn't sure, just the competitive level of that number 51 car. I think we're kind of seeing that already. He started 6th and he's back to 12th in just 3 laps.
Speaking of which, already 3 laps in, JJ Wang's on pit road.
Yeah, that's going to be a drive-through penalty for a restart violation, I believe, or potentially could be a carryover as well from the incident with Jordan Hurley 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it would not surprise me if that's the case. Shane Wolf just put down the fastest lap. He sits in the 4th spot right now. And there you see JJ Wang coming off pit exit, as you saw Robinson get wicked loose. Well, that's a great shot, just seeing all the cars. I was going to make a word that didn't even exist, but basically move up and down all over the place coming out too.
Look at Eli Green coming through turn 4 right behind them. You see going 3 wide through the middle. He's got Jeremy Horn on the outside, and then he's got the number 20, or correction, that's the 66 of Bobby Tench on the bottom. He's going to make that move work, go 3 wide through the middle. Eli Green plus 5 spots already, Hunter.
Yeah, and Eli Green was a late entry. He just got in the lobby and really didn't put up that good of a qualifying time, but race trim looks like it's just fine for the green machine.
The green machine, who's in bright blue and purple lettering.
There you see Dominic DeLeo passing the lap car of JJ Wang. Is Mark Patterson here still fighting for a spot? And speaking of the devil, it's Eli Green.
Yeah, I was going to mention, I was taking a look at the 51 coming off turn 4 there. He almost smacked the outside wall, so he had to check up. He's going to pull to the bottom, let Eli Green take that position. So now Eli Green up to 13th after starting 19th on the night.
I don't think he's done yet. He might be hunting for more. It's right here. You see this is the battle for 8th. Sean Corcoran's got a slew of drivers behind him, that including the white and green 26 of Michael Light. It's a bit of a different look for Michael Light. He typically runs a red-colored race car, and he's got green on it. His own version of the green machine.
Yeah, there you go. So not much changed up front, Hunter. You got Matthew Robinson with his second advantage over Hurley, and then another second back to the third place car of Nicholas Halda, who's actually just given up third place to the 31 of James Shanewolf.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Dominic DeLeo was making a move to the inside, and he's trying to complete the pass on Nick Halda, who's going to fall back to 5th.
Yeah, DeLeo looking pretty strong early on in that 21 car.
He's going to slide up in front of the 87 and take the spot away. 87 going to try and cross him over here as they go down the backstretch. Thinks better of it, tucks back in line.
Pretty calm and cool and collected for much of the field so far tonight, Hunter.
Yeah, calm for now, but action can always happen as the sun sets. A7 of Halda still hunting the bumper of the 21. He's going to put pressure now on the outside of Shane Wolf, and Shane Wolf looking like he's going to let him go.
Yeah, that 21's looking pretty sporty, man. I've been watching his line coming through 1 and 2.
Yes.
And it's like,
Really low
I'm zipping it in there to James Shanewolf. He's actually reporting some mechanical issues there in the 31 car. Having trouble hearing, he said. Some like audio issues going on for James Shanewolf. So that's kind of why he stepped out of the gas there, gave up some spots. But speaking of Dominic DeLeo, what I was trying to say there is his line through turn 1 and 2 looks, you know, he looks like he's using a lot of finesse compared to some of these other guys that are just trying to muscle their car around the corner. I think he's put in a lot of practice laps here.
Look, Shane Wolf might still be having an issue because he's still really low down the backstretch, trying to get it figured out.
Yeah, he's dropped now to Sean Corcoran. Michael Leip is the next one that's going to look to pass him, and that's going to drop James outside the top 10.
Yeah, he's hanging in by a thread right now, but yep, now he's quickly gone out. And just entering the top 10 is that 28 of Eli Green, who's still trying to pass cars. He's looking for the 9th spot.
Yeah, you know, I anticipated once Eli got up here, you know, with Trevor Williams and Michael Leip and some of these other competitive cars, I kind of thought that would put an end to his tear to the front. Not so fast, though. He has been coming through the field in a hurry.
Saw Gary Lewis there, get loose coming out of 2, keeping everything straight. Eli Green now officially in 9th, and he's all over the bumper of Michael Leip now for 8th.
So now you got the 2 green machines together, right, Hunter?
Yeah, I'll say. They're running really high through the corner.
Oh, is
Looking
that
up front, the 0-2 of Hurley's closed the gap quite a bit on Robinson. It's now down to about 9 car lengths, maybe about a second.
Well, yeah, the 0-2, that's something we've seen, it feels like, every single week since the arrival of Jordan Hurley, is just the long-run speed in that race car. And you mentioned it. He was over a second back behind our race leader, Matthew Robinson. He's gotten it down to about 8 or 9 car lengths. Looks like Michael Leip hit the wall there out of turn 4.
Yeah, that'll get you coming off the corner because, oh, Eli Green's in the wall too.
It was actually contact between both Eli Green and Michael Leip. That's what happened to trigger that initial stall that we saw from the 26. And then, like you mentioned, saw Eli Green get back into the wall once again. So those 2 drivers having some issues here.
Yeah, I was going to say, the exit of the corners, turn 2 and turn 4, that safer barrier probably is what got clipped from Michael Leip, because the safer barrier doesn't stretch all the way down the straightaway. It cuts off right around that exit, and that's where you'll see some of the guys go a little too far and hit the wall or get close to it.
You know who's making a good rebound, Hunter, is the guy who started second, the 19 of Rick Christensen. We saw him get loose coming through turn 2 on lap 3, I believe. That dropped him way back deep inside the top 10. He's already worked his way back up to 5th, and I was keeping an eye on him, and you could just see he's a lot quicker than a lot of these guys he's racing around.
Almost got quicker into the wall than anyone else. Major loose coming off of turn 4 for Rick Christensen, trying to keep that car in one piece. It's only lap 15, got about 100 to go.
Well, I think before long, we'll see that 19 right up there with the 0-2 and the 40 as you see Jordan Hurley consistently now running lap times quicker than the 40 of Matthew Robinson.
I was just about to say, we're seeing cars getting loose and smacking the wall here. We're only on lap 15. if we're doing the fuel run here, fuel run you can go about 48 to 52 laps. Drivers are already this loose 15 laps into a run. What are they going to be like in another 15 laps?
Yeah, only a third of the way through that first fuel run. So, when you look at it that way too, Hunter, that makes this a two-stop race. So I wonder if we're going to see anybody try to cut the race, down into thirds essentially. So you could anticipate a pit stop maybe every 40 laps. But still, like you mentioned, that's really early on into the run here on lap 16 to be having some handling issues.
Yeah, some guys you're starting to see fade through the field, and then others you're starting to see power through.
I will say the lap time drop-off that we're seeing is a little surprising to me already. 15 laps into the run, and these guys are already more than a second off of what they were running at the beginning of the race.
That's the gap between second and third back there.
Yeah, that's a pretty wide margin, about 4 seconds between second place Jordan Hurley and how about third place Dominic DeLeo?
Yeah, Dominic DeLeo, Dominic DeLeo, hanging in tough. Got a solid run so far in that number 21.
Battle is starting to heat up though for fourth, and it's Nick Halda who's trying to fend off Rick Christensen in the 19. Rick has been all over that back bumper the last 3 or 4 laps, and he's just waiting and trying to move the 87 out the way, trying to find a little margin of error to sneak his nose underneath him there. As you see the battle also forming for sixth between Forrest Smith and Sean Corcoran.
You're going to see Christensen looking to the inside of Halda. Halda, no fight whatsoever, going to let him have the spot. Thought about crossing him over, but the run too strong for the 19, and he puts it up to fourth.
Now I think we'll see that 19 hunt down the 21. The question is, will he be able to hunt down the 02 and the 40? I'm not quite sure I see that kind of speed out of the 19 yet. And plus, already being 6 seconds back, he's got a long way to go.
Not the case for Jordan Hurley. He has a short way to go to get to the leaders. It's now down to about 4 car lengths.
This is a fixed setup league, right, Hunter? So all these guys are running the same exact thing in terms of, setups, and they can make minor adjustments, but nothing too major. For whatever reason, the 02 is getting off the corner so much better than the 40, and it almost looks like he's got a bigger motor in that race car. He just gains a lot of speed at the end of each straightaway, and I think we'll get a good shot to see it here as you ride on the back bumper of Matthew Robinson.
Some would say he might have an illegal head underneath that hood.
I mean, you can kind of see it there. Just that gap, it just closes in a lot more down the end of the straightaways than it does on the in the corners for the 02 car.
Yeah, it's really interesting to keep an eye on, especially as the run goes on. So we're 20 laps now into this run.
Got one driver out of the race already. It's Nolan Neiman in the 15. Not quite sure what happened to him, but he's the only retiree so far. JJ Wang, we saw him have to serve that penalty at the start of the race. He is 1 lap down, so we'll have to see if he can catch a caution potentially and get back onto the lead lap with a free pass.
Yep, back there you saw that was a battle for the 10th spot. Adam Capps holding that 10th spot from, I just lost it, Gary Lewis.
Yeah, and they've been battling quite hard. The 55 and the 69 there are on top of each other still. Adam Capps is trying to protect the position as much as he can, but Gary Lewis really trying to take it away from him.
Forrest Smith still trying to take away 6th from Sean Corcoran. Corcoran's got the spot for the moment.
It's kind of funny, Hunter. If you look throughout the field, it's like little 2-car battles each and every position. But outside of that, there's not really one big pack.
No, not like what we had in the opening 5 laps or so. Everyone's kind of spread out, got different setups in, seeing the comers and the goers.
Been really impressed with the long run speed between the 02 and the 40. I thought for sure that Jordan Hurley was going to get up there and pass Matthew Robinson and then start to pull away. That just hasn't happened. Robinson's been hanging with him ever since that 02 got within range.
Jeremy Horn got loose there coming out of turn 4, even down the straightaway. Not really sure what was going on there. Oh, and giving the wall a little tap there was the 02 of Jordan Hurley.
That's exactly what Matthew Robinson wanted to see. That's not what any Jordan Hurley fans wanted to see, though. That might have really upset the handling of the race car. Thankfully, though, I don't think he hit it too hard enough to where it's going to slow down the speed, but definitely not something you want to keep doing here.
No, and he hit it in that spot where the safer barrier sticks out, where we've seen some drivers get too close and even give that wall a little bit of a tap there, and we just saw that with the O2 of Hurley. Gap is still about a half a second between Hurley and Robinson. Back there you see the 69 of Gary Lewis fending off the 81 of Jeremy Horns. That's for the 11th spot. Right behind those two you see that's the lap car of JJ Wang. Then back there you got a little 3-car pack between Bobby Tinch, Michael Lipe, and James Shainwolf, who was in the top 5 at one point. Then he had some issues with his audio.
Yep.
And then it's led him to falling back to outside the top 10, way deep, and he's got to make a run now. He's passing Michael Lipe there. He's going to move up to 14th.
Lipe we saw hit the wall, about 10 laps ago, pretty hard when he was racing with Eli Green. Eli, though, Hunter, after that contact between both of them, he hasn't really picked up as much ground as he did initially. You see him kind of hovering around 9th still.
Oof, almost saw Shainwolf smack the wall coming out of 2.
Yeah, he actually hit the wall very hard going into turn 1, yeah. Well, I don't know if he did coming out of 2, but going into turn 1, he hit the wall. Pretty good lick for the 31 car.
Oh, loose there was the 28 of Eli Green. Whoa, and loose again. There you see the 31 of Shainwolf.
Yeah, those guys are battling really hard right now.
It was for that lucky number 13 spot. Actually, no, scratch that. Nope, that was right, 13th. Tinch is going to give it up to Lipe. Shainwolf's going to pass him too.
We saw it with Eli Green and we saw it with James Shainwolf going into turn 1. A lot of times, or not a lot of times, but we've seen it a few times where these guys just cook the corner a little too much. They get in way too hot, and it seems like the room for error is not as wide here as it is at many other racetracks. Once those guys get down into turn 1, if they're cooking it too much, man, they just get right up into the outside wall.
Almost saw Michael Lipe get into the outside wall again.
But Shainwolf is going to take over that position. I do think he's the quicker car out of those 3 right now. So I don't think that'll be too much of a battle for much longer. There you see Lipe.
I think Michael Lipe might be the loosest out of those 3.
Yeah. Well, I was going to mention, we didn't take a look at it, but Rick Christensen actually got around Dominic DeLeo for 3rd. So move him up to the 3rd spot and move DeLeo back to 4th.
I was looking through that previous lap. Rick Christensen ran 7 car lengths faster. That last lap, one that they just crossed through, Christensen ran 2/10 slower than Dominic DeLeo.
I think for about the first time all race, we see somebody within range of Matthew Robinson to potentially set up for a pass. Jordan Hurley has closed the margin ever so slightly. He's really, really strong getting into turn 3. Robinson seems to be better on turn 4 in the front straightaway, though.
Especially what happened in past. Yeah. Especially what happened in the previous laps with Hurley. He smacked the wall there coming out of 4, so we got to take it with a little more caution on that corner exit.
Yeah, just watch how good he is here getting down into turn 3. He gains a lot of ground on Matthew Robinson. He's just not able to hold it by the time the exit of the corner rolls around. They're actually working a lap car. I believe that's the 34 of Rick Ward in front of them.
Kevin H just made his pit stop.
So Kevin, that means he's probably thinking a 3-stop race there. He's going to pit lap 30, 60, and 90. Potentially could be a strategy plan.
A 1 minute 7 seconds damage repair.
Oh.
So he must have had contact with someone, and they resulted him in getting damage out of it, obviously, and now he's repairing that damage.
I don't see any damage on that. Oh, it's on the left side, it looks like there.
It's on the driver's side for that number 3.
The 40. Ooh, the 40 just got around that lap car, and that brought Jordan Hurley right up to his back bumper.
Well, you saw Hurley get a little loose there on corner exits, so 40 getting a little bit of a better run here as they go into turn 1, although you do see the O2 getting really close to the rear bumper.
Seems to be the trend.
That car they just passed was the 34 of Rick Ward.
Yep. Yeah, so that's going to take the free pass away from JJ Wang, though. So that's a tough break for the 00 now, because even if a caution does fly, going to go to the 34 to get back onto the lead lap. But man, this 02, he's impressing me on his corner entrance.
Oh, he just hit the wall. He got wicked loose again coming off turn 4. When he tried to correct it, he just smacked it into the outside wall once again.
That one was a more significant hit than the first time.
It looked like Rick Ward almost hit the wall there too.
Looks like they're coming up behind that car. They're taking a little bit of the downforce off his car, and he's getting on the throttle a little bit too soon. He's taking it right up to the outside of the wall, and he's trying to correct, and that's what's causing the car to want to come around to the right.
Battle for 6 is forming up. Sean Corcoran and Eli Green are side by side, Hunter, as they enter through turn 3 and 4 right now. 22 trying to hold him off.
Yeah, he's trying to get a run, although Green getting loose there. Lucky to not take himself and the 22 out in the process. Is there catching a lap car of Rick Ward there? Actually, no, that's
Halda.
Nick Halda. My apologies.
Similar looking paint scheme, though, because I believed you there for a second.
So actually looking to pass Nick Halda. This is for position. This is for the top 5. Halda's going to lose 2 spots there.
Yeah, something's going on, I think, with that 87. He's dropped a lot of speed here in the last handful of laps.
Could be taking care of the race car and not pushing it to the limit.
We talked about Eli Green starting 19th, and he's up to 6th now, but got to give another shout out to Sean Corcoran. He started in the 10th spot, and he's made his way all the way up to 5th already, and he looks to be really strong here on the long run. I mean, we just watched him and Eli Green, for that matter, blow by the 87 of Nick Halda, who's been one of the quickest drivers in the field tonight.
Yeah, and Sean Corcoran's still looking for a win here, and looking to push his chance at making the playoffs up some.
Yep, 4th, 5th, and 6th are looking for their first win of the season.
There's Forrest Smith now on the bumper of Nick Halda from the 7th spot. So looking to the inside here. Gonna look down low. Halda gonna give him all the room he needs. Although Halda's got the momentum carrying on the outside. Got a little loose there. Still side by side, very wide for the Forrest Smith machine. He'll take the spot.
I think here in about the next few laps, I would say the pit window is open for everybody that wants to make it a 2-stop race. A lot of these guys are probably going to try to come down around lap 40. I think, we'll see the leaders do that strategy for sure. I don't think anybody's going to try to push it much past lap 45 or so, because you really don't need to. You got to stop twice for fuel no matter what, so it's probably better to get on as quick as you can here in these next few laps. If I had to anticipate, that's what I'd expect to see.
Everyone's got a different strategy. We'll see who are the first comers into pit road.
If I'm somebody like the 19 or the 02 of Jordan Hurley, where they don't really have a lot to lose, they just got a lot to gain in terms of track position, I would try to come onto pit road extremely early, like either this lap or next, and get onto those fresh tires sooner than Matthew Robinson. Make that lap time so that you can help better your track position. Looked like the one of Trevor Williams is pitting, but he used the entrance road down there on the turn 3 apron. I'm not sure if that's a requirement or not here. Do you know if that's mandatory here, Harold, or not?
Haven't done enough racing here lately. I know that there was a time that it was for Indy, but I'm not seeing it for ARCA. Without being in the car, I wouldn't be able to answer that.
I was going to actually ask you, Jake, what kind of what approach they had to do with making their pit stops. I know on pit exit they have to use that access road going through turn 1 and 2.
Well, looking at the access road in 3 and 4, there's not a lot of openings. Once you kind of get past turn 3 to get onto pit road, there's not much of a gap. So it might be a requirement for these drivers to have to come down and use that access lane on the bottom side of 3 and 4, which is going to make that pit stop even longer. So we'll have to see. Once we see somebody not do it, we'll have to see if they get a black flag or not. as Jordan Hurley's actually closed back in on Matthew Robinson again. I'm trying to see what's happening there.
Well, just forget everything you just said. It's a race on the pit road now.
Yeah, it is.
He almost spun out getting on the pit road.
That was interesting. That kind of answered it right there, because those guys would know, more than anybody that, yes, you do have to use that access road, and you can see just how much they were trying to make as much time as possible using it. That was pretty funny watching those guys race around the access road there.
You also got to watch out for that ladder that's still in the pit lane.
Yes, I have a good story about that ladder we'll get to if we get another green flag run here. But Rick Christensen now is going to cycle to the lead. He'll get the bonus point for leading the lap, and now he's going to bring his 19 car down onto the access road. Let's see if he tries to use the full throttle approach we saw the 2 leaders do. And it looks like he is. Can't give up any time, Hunter.
Nope, not one bit. And it's not until you get to those yellow cones right there where it tracks your pit speed. And speaking of speed, that 21 car's got some speed because he just led his first lap of the night.
And I'm trying to check real quick to see if that's his first lap of the season as well that he has led.
I think he's led more than once this season.
He does like to do the different strategy approaches, so it wouldn't surprise me. Dominic DeLeo, he has led 2 laps, and they were both at Iowa.
Yep.
So make it 3 on his career. He's bringing it down on the pit road now.
Going to take it slow and steady into pit road. That's going to cycle the leader to Sean. To Sean Corcoran.
And he's another. So, I think a lot of these guys that are pretty comfortable in their position, they know they're 4th or 5th place car or whatever. They're like, hey, I might as well stay out that extra lap and get that bonus point for leading, because that 1 point is just as good as the position on the racetrack.
Indeed, it is.
But Sean's actually going to stay out another lap here, which is going to block anybody behind him of trying to get onto pit road. Look how big the tire difference is, though. Almost 2 seconds quicker on fresh tires than these old tires that Sean Corcoran's on right now.
Yeah,
that's a wide margin.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be that big of a margin.
Yeah, so I think those first few guys we saw on pit road are going to have a huge advantage. So, man, are we 4 wide right now down the back straightaway?
They're looking 5 wide there for a brief moment.
And then Eli Green is going to be the one who gets the advantage out of it, and he's going to go back onto the lead lap. But man, that was a sketchy move there for a second.
Yeah, sketchy indeed. So
I didn't think I was gonna say I don't think I had 4 wide at Gateway on my bingo card, so we'll have to mark that one off the list.
If you had it on your bingo card, you might have just won bingo.
Yeah, that was quite the move there, and I think Eli Green, I mean, his name seems to be synonymous with aggressive driving, and we've seen it pay off before, and it was a move like that get him a couple spots and more track position. Is now the 22 of Sean Corcoran looks like he's heading in, Hunter.
Dustin Carroll also made his way down pit road the previous lap. He's going to cycle the lead over to James Shanewolf there in the 31. Shanewolf's had a night that started up and then kind of worked its way down. And after the audio issues that he's had to deal with, not sure if those are fixed yet or not, but he was in the top 5 at one point, fell down to about 15th or so. Now he's up to the lead.
Isn't it just ironic that you got audio issues and you race for Audible Racing and you got Audible all over your race car, one of your sponsors, but that's just kind of ironic there for James Shanewolf. But he is going to get the bonus point for leading the lap. I talk about it a lot because you'll see when we get to that final race just how much every point matters when these guys are 1 or 2 points out of the playoffs.
Adam Capps is the owner of the Audible League. He's the Audible DJ, I believe. And maybe James Shanewolf needs to have Adam Capps come over to the house and hook up the speakers on his car.
Yeah, need a sound check on the 31 car.
So I'm looking through here at what the leaderboard's going to look like once all the pit stops are cycled through. So it's going to be Matthew Robinson leading, but he's got a 3.7 second gap between him and Jordan Hurley, and they both pitted on the same lap.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I wasn't exactly sure how it happened. I was trying to go back and see if maybe Jordan Hurley had a miscue on his pit stop or a miscue coming out of pit road, and I couldn't really find anything other than the fact that Matthew Robinson has been substantially quicker, almost a half a second quicker a lap. Well, call it 0.3 a lap since he's came out on fresh tires. So maybe that's how Jordan Hurley gets his long run speed, is just by saving those first few laps on the fresh tires.
Saw the.
I'm looking at the, sorry, Harold. The 31 got really loose there coming off turn 2.
He'll be coming
which
down,
took
I
away from
believe.
the topic. Yeah, I would assume so. Also, after that, took away the topic I was going to talk about.
Dixon
Go on,
coming
Harold.
in. I was going to say that Hurley was about 7/10 slower on pit lane, but I agree there with Jake that I believe Robinson is just better on the start, and Hurley likes to take care of the car to come at it later in the run. So we'll watch those guys in about 23rd laps and see how that works out as the 40s coming into view right here with the race leader.
Yeah, somehow Brian Dixon has gotten caught already by Matthew Robinson. He's going to head down to pit road now. But I wanted to touch on Brian Dixon there as we saw him. He did lead a lap. He's 4th in points, Hunter, without a single top 5, which is a pretty impressive feat when you look at how he's gotten it done. He's kept that race car clean week in and week out. He led a lot of laps at Iowa on a different strategy. He got another lap led tonight, which is a bonus point, and that's going to put that 33 in a real good position in terms of points when the playoffs roll around.
Yeah, Harold, I was actually going to bring up that topic of discussion with the pit stops, because Robinson had a slower pit stop, although he was quicker in the pit lane than Jordan Hurley. So I'm not really sure what's going on with the 0-2 of Hurley. I know that with a difference in pit time, I don't think he had enough time to repair the damage on the right side of the car. I don't know if that's a factor or not, because we did see him smack the wall quite a bit, and he didn't really have much time to repair. I don't know if that's the issue or not.
Well, a lot of times, I was gonna chime in real quick. So with the damage that the 0-2 got there, that was what it's called optional repairs. So you're not required to take that. If you knock the front end off the race car, if you damage the motor, then you're going to have required repairs where you have to sit in pit lane and take a 30-second repair or a 40-second repair. What he did there by slapping the outside wall, that was going to be optional repair, which is probably around 15, 10 seconds, anywhere in that range, and you don't have to take that. So he might have just decided not to get that repairs done on that race car because he didn't want to give up the track position because of it.
You see on the right rear is about where the damage is, right behind that right rear tire. But not much, just the fender pushed in a little bit, maybe not be too bad. He was catching up to Robinson. Well, like I said, we'll have to see at the end of this long fuel run.
And then also on the flip side of that, they will attempt to fix your car while you're getting your 4 tire stop done as well, as long as you're not completely out of fuel. Essentially, however much fuel you need, the gas man will fill it up as much as he can, and then he'll essentially start working on the optional damage, which nets out being about a half second or maybe a second at most, depending on how much fuel you need. So maybe Jordan Hurley got a little bit of damage repair done, but if you said he wasn't on pit road too much longer, then I don't think he was sitting there waiting.
No, Hurley was in his pit box 13.7, Robinson 14.2. But in the pit lane, Robinson was a 40.4, Hurley a 41.1.
So then I think it comes down to just how hard Matthew Robinson's pushing. I think he wants to get that lead stretched out and then hope that Jordan Hurley doesn't have the tires saved towards the end of the run, which we saw Hurley, make up a big margin on the first green flag run. We'll have to see him do an even bigger margin on this second green flag run here.
Yeah, but almost contact there between Robinson and the lap car.
Brandon Hedrick in the 12.
Brandon Hedrick. Okay, there's too many red cars in here. I'm just almost
It did look like the 34 again.
Oh, and he's in the wall now. He is in the wall, hitting every 5-hour energy sign that there is on this track. And the Robinson machine scoots on by from any carnage.
So looking, look at
wall again.
Yeah, I was about to say the 12 is back inside the wall. The 31 of James Shanewolf, we saw him stay out for that extended amount of time. If you cut back to where he's at on the racetrack, he's just in front of Rick Christensen in 3rd, and he's 1 lap down. So that's how much the tire fall off is here when you're working at about 2-second difference. He stayed on the track for about 10 more laps, and he lost a whole lap here at Gateway because of that. So pretty substantial here to get on pit road quick.
Yeah, especially pitting under green, it really doesn't help you out that much, especially when you're staying out.
Yeah, the only... I don't know, because it's impossible to do this race on 1 stop, obviously. So it's going to be a 2-stop for every single driver. So I just don't understand the strategy of trying to wait till lap 50 or stretch your fuel, unless you were hoping for a caution.
Yeah, a caution in which we have yet to see fly. It's all been green.
I didn't say it. You jinxed him, not me. But no, in all seriousness, pretty shocked that we haven't seen a caution already, because this is one of the tougher racetracks we're going to go to. It's not a mile and a half. It's not a short track. It's somewhere in between, and it's really, really tough. But you know what else is a really tough racetrack, Hunter?
So would that be Darlington?
Yeah, that's the track Too Tough to Tame. Next week for MRG Throwback Week, man, we're going to the track Too Tough to Tame, Darlington Raceway. It's going to be prize money all week long. Monday night, it's going to be $25 to win, $15 to the best paint scheme. Same thing Tuesday, same thing Wednesday, and then the Southern 500 on Thursday night, longest race of the season. $100 to win. It's going to be a fun week next week.
Fun week with a lot of prize money up for grabs. Those being not only for race winner, but also second, third, fourth, fifth, and then the best throwback scheme, which is decided by you, the fans at home that are watching.
Everybody here in this Twitch chat next week, you guys are going to be the ones voting for the best paint scheme, the best throwback scheme in each race, Monday to Thursday next week. So make sure you guys are following along, subscribe to the Twitch channel so you don't miss any of it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it too, especially Gary Lewis, because he seems like he's got a war face. He already fought the monster, now he's got to go after the lady in black.
Yeah. And obviously, with one mind to design that race team, you know he's going to have a killer throwback scheme, too.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of Gary Lewis, he's running in 10th right now. About 3 seconds back from Adam Capps. There he is.
Quietly is Jordan Hurley cutting into that lead a little bit. It was 4.5 seconds down to 3.5 seconds now, but still got a long way to go. A lot of laps to do it, though. Just over halfway here.
Just over halfway, and while we're at it, let's go ahead and get our halfway rundown out of the way, presented by Swift Lifestyles. Fans, be sure to visit our sponsor, Swift Lifestyles, for clean supplements to help improve your focus on gaming. Use discount code AREA iRacing, AREA iRacing, for 15% off your entire order. We would like to give a big thanks to Swift Lifestyles and their support of the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series that's being led tonight by Matthew Robinson, who's led good bit of laps. He's led 50 out of the 60 that we've completed so far. It seems like the only driver that can touch him or get close to his level is Jordan Hurley in the O2, which is car right behind Matthew Robinson. Hurley had a strong start to his career in Araya, and he's currently in the hunt for Matthew Robinson, trying to dethrone him in the second half of this race.
Right behind him, third place driver Rick Christensen, who finally got the monkey off his back 2 weeks ago at Nashville, got his first win of the season tonight. Another solid night. He's third in points. He's running third on the track. Right behind him, how about the fourth place driver Eli Green? Started all the way back in 19th. He's up 15 spots already with just over halfway of the race done. Eli missed last week's race at Nashville, so it's going to drop him down to 7th in points, but he's still got a comfortable margin. About 10 points or so to the playoff bubble, so he's got a long way to go here tonight if he wants to get to victory lane.
Another driver looking for his first win in the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series is Trevor Williams. He was in the back part of the top 10 earlier on in the race, so slowly moved his way up inside the top 5, where he sits right now in that 5th spot. Looking for him to have a strong second half to the season as he looks to secure his playoff spot. Right behind him, another driver trying to secure his spot in the playoffs is Dominic DeLeo. Led a lap here tonight while green flag pit stops were taken away. Had a top 10 last week in Nashville, looking to get another best finish of the season and of his career. So he's one spot outside the top 5.
Forrest Smith, the number 84 car, is running 7th at the moment. He's been pretty consistent so far in his short stay so far in the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. A top 10 every single race except for one of them. But outside of that, he's looking to continue his top 10 runs with another strong race here tonight at Gateway. And then right behind him is going to be the number 87 of Nicholas Halda, like we always call him, the Daytona winner, first ever winner of an ARIA race. He got it done a few months back. He's having another solid night to cap off his solid regular season that he's had so far. He's running 8th.
Right behind him, running 9th, the 55 of Adam Capps. Adam Capps has been quiet this year for Audible. Hasn't been in too much wrecking or drama. Hasn't really been up front. Just kind of been in the middle of the pack. He's currently running 9th right now. Really good run for him. We'll see if he can improve on that spot.
Looking for his first career top 10 as well.
Yep. And there's Gary Lewis. He's got that war face on. He's running in the 10th spot right now. Teammate Forrest Smith running in 7th. One line to the design. Got some pretty good drivers running inside the top 10, and one of those being Gary Lewis. And who knows? Maybe he could get a win here tonight.
Absolutely.
Caution free. Could see it turn into fuel mileage.
Well, Gary Lewis, Hunter, important race for him. He is 13th on the playoff picture right now. He's the first driver outside looking in. Who's the driver in front of him? Well, it's Kevin Hayes, who we saw have the troubles earlier and 2 laps down. So right now, for the moment, Gary Lewis has punched his ticket inside the playoffs with a strong run tonight. Still a long way to go, though, and also, that's also half the regular season left. So we're not nowhere close to the playoffs starting, but it's always good to get an idea of where these drivers stack up. I know Kevin Hayes, there you see him right behind Matthew Robinson, losing his 3rd lap of the night. Obviously not the run he wanted. He's had such a consistent year, and he's disappointed right now, I'm sure, to be struggling like he is, having that damage and having to come down pit road early on.
Looking for battles that are starting to heat up. Trevor Williams is really close to Eli Green for that 4th spot.
All right, here we go, Hunter. I got a trivia question. Since we're in a little bit of a lull here, not too much going on the racetrack. Harold, you can chime in too if you know it, and no cheating. And this is also for the Twitch chat. There is one driver who is in the playoffs right now without a single top 10 on the season. He's in the top 12 in points, and he has not had a top 10 all season long. Who is it?
Oh, man. Really
it's a tough one.
My knowledge here. Yeah, I'm going to go on a limb. Well, doesn't have a top 10?
Does not have a top 10.
Brandon Hendrick.
I was going to say it. He's got an 11th. He's got 2 11th place finishes, a 12th, a 14th, a 16th, and an 18th. But yes, it's Brandon Hendrick. Yep. No top 10s on the year, but he's got a playoff spot right now. That was the trivia question. There's your answer. Not the night he wanted either, though. We saw him hitting the wall a couple times, getting lapped there by Matthew Robinson, but he's right on cue. He's in 14th place yet again.
I was gonna say you're not gonna hold a playoff spot if you can't get top 10s. Hopefully, Brandon Hedrick can get that figured out here for the second half of the season.
I would be impressed though. I think it's possible if you consistently finish 11th through 15th, you're bound to be in the top 12 in points. I could see it. Look at that 3-wide move by James Shanewolf though.
Yep, Shanewolf looking to increase his points gap there. It really hasn't had a good night. Trying to salvage something out of nothing.
Well, also James Shanewolf, we know he's got one of the freshest set of tires on the racetrack. He was the last guy to come down pit road for the most part with a few others. So he's trying to make up as much ground as possible. Unfortunately, though, he's mired back in the 14th spot as he just got around Brandon Hendrick.
Trevor Williams still looking to get by Eli Green for that 4th spot, although Green starting to put up a little bit more of a fight now.
Yeah, Williams got to the back bumper of Eli Green, and like you mentioned, Eli Green has kind of been holding him off and doing a good job so far.
Looked like he got a little loose there, coming out of 2. You see the one of Williams get closer. Williams taking the lower approach to the corner, and Green's taking the higher approach.
I am very surprised we have not seen one mistake big enough to bring out a caution flag yet. 70 laps in.
We were close to seeing a few.
Yeah, and a few of them involved the 28 of Eli Green.
And then another few were the 0-2 of Jordan Hurley smacking the wall, especially that second time around.
Yeah,
got loose and then tried to save it from spinning to the inside, just kept it to the outside and whack.
I think that's affected his race car more than we anticipated, because he did gain a little bit. He got back up to the 40 a little bit on that first run after hitting the wall that hard, but man, that speed just hasn't seemed to be there in the number 02 since then. So now, Hunter, I'm curious to see, because this is something that as a driver you got to think about. If anybody tries to do something completely different than the race leaders and try to come down pit road super early, we said earlier our pit window is 48 to 52 laps on the long end. So with 52 to go right now, I believe, right? No, 42 to go now. How many laps we got left? 43 to go? Yes.
Yeah, we are nearing 40 to go.
So these guys are well within their range to make it to the end. I would try pitting now just to gain a bunch of track position and see what happens.
Oh,
'Cause
I
you-
thought you were going to ask me which driver do you see doing that? Splits it up and tries to short pit and then make it all the way on fuel.
Well, who would it be then? I can't ask you.
I was going to say I think it'll be the 84 Forrest Smith. Because
I think it'd be a good strategy.
I can't really see Christensen or Eli Green doing it. Neither do I see Trevor Williams or Dominic D'Elia. Those guys are having good enough runs. I don't think they want to mess up whatever run they got going for them.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because I was actually going to answer opposite of you, and I was going to say probably somebody with a win already, like Jordan Hurley or Rick Christensen. But I think you're right. If that goes wrong, if that strategy doesn't pan out, then they've kind of, gave themselves out of the race, naturally. They could probably still have a chance to win it as it is. So if I'm somebody, like you said, Forrest Smith, man, I would consider pitting now. You're good the rest of the way. I think we see the 28 of Eli Green doing it, actually. Here he comes down pit road, Hunter. 28 is trying to make his way around the apron. He's in the grass doing it, but Eli Green, the 28 car, looks like he's heading down pit road.
I would say amongst the drivers that do have speed consistently every week, I would say probably Eli Green, because he always seems to have top 5 speed everywhere we go. Dominic D'Elia is trying to get into a rhythm of that. So is Trevor Williams. Forrest Smith is one of those where I feel like, okay, he's got fast enough car. Week in, week out, try a little something different and maybe improve on that. But Eli Green is the first to fall. Gary Lewis, Forrest Smith's teammate, actually, dropping down pit road also.
I like the strategy
And
call a lot.
Jordan Hurley's on pit road too.
Oh, Jordan Hurley just almost spun out getting onto pit road. He did. Jordan Hurley spun out, Hunter, trying to get down into his pit box. He came down onto the pit access road super quick. He got to that cone. He jammed the brakes, and it sent him right around. We'll get a replay, it looks like, here in a moment. But the 0-2 got sent around, so that's going to pretty much put an end on that strategy call for him. As just here, we'll get a look at the replay here. You'll see exactly what happened.
Our one to go replay presented by Northern Capital going to show us the 0-2 spinning out, getting on the pit road or getting to that commitment line that tracks your speed. I mean, we almost saw it on his first time around. He was gaining speed and traction, trying to get up to Matthew Robinson, trying to make up as much time as possible. Dragging it out.
I think this was, wow. That was a really late entry onto the access road already. And then you'll see it here when he comes around the corner and he gets to that point where you got to get on the brakes hard to make pit road speed. He just starts getting loose, and it goes right around on him.
Made a little bit of contact with the wall too. Not
Whoa,
good.
caution is out on the racetrack.
Caution's out. Oh boy, did I see this coming. Oh, we got big damage here. It looks like that's the Rick Christensen machine. There's heavy damage to the front of that Infinite Gaming machine. Trying to figure out which car that is with our one to go replay, once again presented by Northern Capital. Oh wow, James Shanewolf, Kevin Hayes, and it looks like Rick Christensen.
Innocent bystander again for the 19.
Just nuts there. Here's the look at what happened. As we see coming off turn 4. Oh, this is the previous lap, sorry. This is the previous lap. I would assume it would be turn 4, the trouble spot. Whoa. Or maybe the 3 gave the 31 a little bit of an assist there.
Looked like it was... So it looked like the 3 was trying to get under the 30. Okay, that was an aggressive block there from the 31. Now we're starting to get a better idea of what happened. So the 31 throws a block on the 3. The 3 gets underneath him, trying to get around the 31. Both these drivers are multiple laps down, by the way, at this point. Actually, Shane Wolf is 1 down. And there the 3 gets loose, contact with the 31, and around they go.
Yeah, but then up in front of the track, right in front of the 19 of Christensen. Nowhere for him to go. Just hard racing there for drivers multiple laps down, just trying to fight for whatever they can salvage. And did not work out for either one of them, and it got third person involved. So now we'll see the leaders come down pit road, and this caution really throws a monkey wrench into everything with the drivers that pitted early.
Yep, those drivers that pitted early are going to start all the way at the tail end of the lead laps. They're going to have to take a wave around here. once we get one to green, and that's going to consist of Jordan Hurley in the 02, the 84 of Forrest Smith.
Jordan Hurley should be good because I'm looking at him on the seventh. He's in 7th spot, and the guys in front of him are all going to come down pit. So
Yeah, but
Hurley
he'll
may
still
be
have-
the new leader.
I'm trying to see. I don't think so. No, he's still got to get the wave around.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's still got to get wave around. And
Yeah, so-
Brian Dixon. I think Dixon's going to pit, actually.
Yeah, well, a lot of those guys hadn't even pitted yet, so they have to pit now in terms of fuel to make it to the end. So a lot of them are just going to get trapped a lap down that were already a lap down. But the drivers that tried to do the strategy call, Eli Green, Jordan Hurley, trying to find out who else is on that same plan there. Looks like Forrest Smith, I believe. Yep, Forrest Smith.
Bobby Tinch was in 2nd, but he's got 39 laps on his tires. I'm not really sure what that's a little glitch or not. There he is. He's down pit road now. Never mind. I was gonna say it showed him in 2nd and mixed in with the leaders that just pitted.
So here's our final list of wave round drivers. It's going to be the number 28 of Eli Green. You see him right in front of the leader. It's going to be Nicholas Halda, Forrest Smith, James Shanewolf, Jordan Hurley. All those drivers will get back onto the lead lap.
Right as we're pacing under caution here for the first time tonight at Gateway. Coverage of tonight's Gateway Arch 140 is brought to you by Northern Capital. We would like to give a big thanks to Russ and Steve Anderson of Northern Capital for their support of the Northern Capital Truck Series, which you can catch tomorrow night at the same track in Gateway on the Arai Twitch channel. So the first caution coming out in the cycle of green flag pit stops for a second time in the race. A crash that collected the 31 of James Shanewolf, the 3 of Kevin Ace. 2 drivers racing hard in the middle of 3 and 4. Carried over into the front stretch, and as that wreck ensued, it blocked the door shut for Rick Christensen trying to pass through and nowhere for him to go. Tough end of the night for Christensen, trying to make it 2 in a row after winning last week's race at Nashville. So there you see the wave around cars going by. Amongst those, you see that's the 02 of Jordan Hurley. Shanewolf's just going to drive right through the pace truck like it doesn't exist. And
So that's going to leave us 10 cars, Hunter, back on the lead lap now. Sorry to cut you off there.
You're good. I was just going to say, and this leads us to the main pack, in which Matthew Robinson is going to lead the way on the inside. Trevor Williams to the outside. Behind him, you got Dominic DeLeo running in 3rd, looking to improve on his season best finish last week in Nashville. Held on to 10th. He's running in the top 5 now. Still got about 30 laps or so left, but he couldn't do it.
I was going to say, you know who this caution was the big break for that really lucked out was 2nd through 5th. Trevor Williams, Dom DeLeo, Sean Corcoran, and Bobby Tinch. By staying out on the racetrack and not losing a lap, they are now side by side with the race leader, Matthew Robinson, even tires, and they got just over 30 laps to see who can get it done.
Yep, just over 30 laps to go. Pace truck pulls in. We're about to have the green flag fly once more here at Gateway. There you see the drivers there in the back trying to catch up with the main pack that got wave around. Green flag's waving, and Robinson's already got his eyes set on turn 1. It's a battle in the back for 2nd. Williams holding on to the spot. DeLeo under attack from Corcoran on the outside. He'll take 3rd away. So there you see those drivers in the back, including Eli Green and Jordan Hurley, trying to make their way through all the lap traffic in their way.
Well, yeah, you see, it's going to be interesting because the top 4 are all right there on your screen, and then there's a bunch of lap cars, and then we get 5th through 10th because of the wave round situation there. So the first driver that is essentially on the same run as these guys is Bobby Tinch in the 66 car, who's got, looks like about 10 lap cars between him and the next guy on his lap. Maybe make that 5 lap cars maybe, but it's still going to mess up the running order quite a bit. And a lot of these guys are going to need a caution to help try to reset where they were in terms of, where they would restart if they weren't a wave around car. Right now, though, Robinson looking good. He stretched out the margin a little bit over Trevor Williams. Sean Corcoran up to 3rd, though, Hunter.
Yeah, Corcoran not settling for 3rd. He's trying to get past the one of Trevor Williams for 2nd. So heading into turn 1. Dominic DeLeo with the fastest lap.
Of the night.
Yeah, of the night too. When that goes off during the race, that's of anyone in the field during the race. So he's got the fastest lap right now. He could have it, depending on how these next 30 laps go. I will say that although it seemed Robinson really stretched out the lead, it's nothing compared to what he did at the beginning of the run, which that was almost a second. They're keeping it at about 5-6 car lengths.
Yeah, the real driver your heart just breaks for, yet again, is got to be Rick Christensen, right? He's 20th place now. He's out of the race. He's completely destroyed, and he was having another top 3 run.
Yeah, that's a run you do not want to be a part of, in which your night just gets ended early and early.
But there is a but here. He got the win last race. That locks him into the playoffs. I bet you that doesn't hurt as bad as it would if you're winless.
I don't think so either.
Trevor Williams, though, man, he is so close. You know, when you look at the fast guys in this series and who's going to win every week, you look at, Robinson, Christensen, Hurley, obviously the guys who have already gotten it done. And then there's that second pack. And Williams, in my opinion, is one of the leaders of that second pack who's almost making that jump to the guys who can win week in and week out. He has consistently gotten better each and every race. We saw some really strong runs at the start of the season. And then, just obviously luck plays a lot into this as well. So he's outside of the playoff picture. He missed a race, but man, I think Williams he's just keeps getting closer and closer. He finished 3rd at Nashville 2 weeks ago. I think it's almost time for that one car to be in victory lane.
Almost time. It could be tonight. Although we will find out at the very end of this. As Robinson slowly starting to stretch out that lead once more. Williams trying to create some separation between him and Sean Corcoran. Then Dominic DeLeo holding on to 4th, in which he's got about 4-second gap between him and the next car, Jordan Hurley, who has passed Bobby Tinch for that 5th spot.
I will say, I feel like I'm always the one here talking about points, but I just want to touch on this, man. After tonight, Hunter, the points is going to have a huge shakeup, and that battle for that top 12 spot is going to be even tighter because you got people like Dominic DeLeo, who's outside of the top 12. Trevor Williams, who's outside of the top 12. Both those drivers are 17th in points and 19th in points, and they're having top 5 runs tonight. They're going to jump a lot of people and make that playoff bubble even more interesting.
Yeah, you want to get hot at the right time, especially now that we're past the halfway point, starting to get towards that playoff push. Which of these drivers are going to make their own push at trying to make the playoffs? And we're seeing it right now with drivers running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
And it just
trying to get his first win. Sean Corcoran also trying to get his first win, along with Dominic DeLeo, which DeLeo's just trying to improve week in, week out.
And I skipped Sean Corcoran, but he's another one of those guys. He's 15th in points right now. So 2nd through 4th right now are outside of the top 15 in points. And that's just ridiculous because tonight they're going to have a top 5 finish potentially. And it's going to make that bubble even tighter than it was coming into tonight with guys like Forrest Smith, who's back in 8th, Gary Lewis back in 14th. The driver we talked about earlier, the 12 of Brandon Hedrick, he's down in 17th, 2 laps down. So it's going to get tight. It's going to be it's going to be a hard-fought battle all the way to the end.
There's 66 of Bobby Tinch in the 6th spot. Don't want to knock him off. He's had a solid night also. So he's in the middle of all this gaggle of lap cars. The next car closest to him is Eli Green there, the blue car you see to the inside of the yellow 51 of Mark Patterson there. Just shows you how mumbo jumbo this running order is.
Well, it's not even that. It also shows you just how competitive this series is. When you got people that are outside the top 15 in points running in the top 5 on any given night, it really shows you that it's not as separated as you might think. Yeah, Robinson had an 11-second lead and he was stretching it out, but all it takes is one caution, Hunter. Changes everything.
Yeah. Oh, when I meant mumbo jumbo, I meant from the restart. I don't mean drivers who are running in the back, moving up front now. It's just that restart was nuts because it seemed like almost everyone was on the inside line coming to the green.
Yeah. And I'm also curious, knock on wood, if we do get another caution, who decides to put on their last set of tires and who stays out? Oh, James Shane with him pit road. Oh, that's a scheduled stop. He had to come down for fuel because he took the wave round. He hadn't made his second pit stop yet.
It was just before I was going to knock on wood. Don't know if anyone heard that, but I just knocked on wood. Now, Trevor Williams, he has created separation between him and Sean Corcoran. He's got his eyes set on that orange bumper of the leader, Matthew Robinson.
He hasn't let Robinson go, has he? He stayed within 5 car lengths or so this entire run.
No, they are running similar lap times, too.
I'll tell you what, man, if Trevor Williams could get up there and win this race, oh my goodness. This league has surprised me a lot already, but that would be something that would really, really, just be awesome to see. I don't want to try to jinx them or do any of that, but it's just refreshing to see a lot of different faces up front.
Yeah, and these guys are good to go the rest of the way on fuel, so it's really just about conserving your tire. And could Trevor Williams be using his tires too early?
I'll tell you what, man. The most intense pit stop of the season would be if a caution comes out right now and watching what first, second, and third place decide to do. Because I guarantee you, if Matthew Robinson hits pit road, second and third would stay out, and vice versa. Wins mean a lot.
They sure do mean a lot. We're about to find out who's going to win tonight's race in the next 20 laps, those of which sponsored by Sim Speed Shop. We would like to give a big thanks to Sim Speed Shop for their support of the Sim Speed Shop Cup Series this season in Orion. And racers can visit our website at www.simspeedshop.com to find multiple items to complete their racing setup, such as button boxes, wheels, racing gear, and much more. That's www.simspeedshop.com.
And what you're saying with those a late race caution, with 20 laps already on these tires, I don't see anyone trying to stay out in the top 5 or even the top 6 back to Hurley.
I don't know, man. I think you would try it.
Somebody might do it, but it would be a death sentence.
I think they would try it, try to get in front of the 40 and just see what happens. I mean, I've seen it before where people will just stay out and like you mentioned, because you're referring to how far off the times are, which is substantial. I mean, they're already a second off of what they were running at the beginning of this run alone. But all it takes is cautions. You get a caution, that wipes out 5 laps. You get another caution, that wipes out 5 laps again, and you're down to a green-white checkered. They wreck on the restart, you won the race. That's all it takes. But obviously, it's a lot easier said than done, and we'll see. We'll just see.
So all you can do is just wait and watch. I don't think there's a shadow of a doubt that Matthew Robinson's got that another bonus point for leading the most laps. There is 88 laps.
Wow.
He's led all but 10 laps.
Wow. And he started on pole, so it's looking like almost a clean sweep tonight for Matthew Robinson. But this race isn't over. Trevor Williams still within a second of Matthew Robinson and actually gaining a little bit here on the exit of turn 2.
That last lap, Williams ran about 10th slower than Robinson.
Curious to see what this lap is because he looks like he's gaining down the back here.
Coming down to the line. It's about half a second to 6 car lengths between Robinson and Williams, looking through, seeing what lap time they put up. Williams definitely seems quicker. He's gaining down the back.
And on the flip side of this, the regular season points championship is also extremely important because that comes with a substantial amount of playoff points. And right now, Matthew Robinson's got it by 42 points over his teammate Nick Halda in the 87. So another good points night at the very least for Matthew Robinson as Trevor Williams is getting closer and closer as the laps wind down, 15 to go.
He might flip the switch saying it's go time because he's definitely caught up to that bumper of Matthew Robinson.
But we saw it earlier with Jordan Hurley. He got right behind, the race leader, Matthew Robinson, and the handling kind of went away on that race car. Like Harold mentioned, coming out of turn 4, just got tight and smacked the wall a couple of times. But man, Trevor Williams looks really good right now.
Not letting up one bit. Dominic DeLeo looks like he's closing in on Sean Corcoran for third.
I would not take my eyes off this battle for the lead, though.
No, not one bit. It almost seems like who's going to make the first mistake? Is it going to be Robinson or is it going to be Trevor Williams?
Well, and this was the point of the run where it's almost similar to what we saw with Jordan Hurley. He got right up to Matthew Robinson about 15, 20 laps into the run and wasn't able to make that pass, but Robinson really lost the handle of that race car, and it looks like we're seeing it again, really fighting it on the exit of each corner.
See the different lines that they run. Robinson typically running the middle-ish portion of the track, and Trevor Williams just running a little bit lower than him. Seems like Robinson's starting to pull away just a bit.
We need the lap times there to see what the comparisons are, because like you mentioned, Robinson looks like he's pulling, caution's out right in front of the leader.
JJ Wang. JJ Wang is stalled on the front stretch, and that's going to bring out another caution. Big, very big here, very crucial to the leaders.
Oh, yeah.
We see drivers come down pit road and using their last set of fresh stickers.
I am almost surprised that even brought out a caution. The 00 really never even completely went around. He never even came to a complete stop. As you see the replay here, our producer Harold Darner's got it teed up for us. He just came out of pit road. He got sideways there. He hit the apron or the rumble strips going through turn 3 and 4 and never came to a stop, kept it rolling. But somehow that triggered an iRacing caution, which is completely opposite than what we've seen most of the season, Hunter. We've seen guys go around with no cautions, and here we get an easy one.
Yep, and I'll bring everyone down pit road.
And everybody's coming in.
And that's what I was saying. There's nobody going to take the chance. Maybe somebody deeper in that can get on the lead lap will stay out, but not anybody on the lead lap is getting tires.
I'm surprised.
That's big for Jordan Hurley, too, because he was back behind all that mess of lap cars after taking the wave around. So that's going to give him another shot
Let's see. Right here's a perfect shot. Let's see if anybody takes 2 tires.
He could potentially steal a deal.
See if anybody jumps out early. Yep. No, not looking like it. Sean
Corcoran.
And Eli Green, for that matter.
Williams, too.
No, I think Williams was still 4, right?
4.
Yeah, maybe
Sean with 2.
Yeah.
Sean Corcoran definitely took 2 tires there. And we're trying to figure out which driver was going to be that was going to take a shot.
Well, see, I figured
Sean Corcoran.
Exactly, right? And I figured Trevor Williams would come in because it looked like for a moment there was a chance he could beat Robinson heads up. But I'm shocked nobody else stayed out because we've seen the dominance between the 40 and the 02 and the 1 for that matter here tonight. I would try to do something just to get in front of him and see what happens. But looks like the 22 is the one who takes a chance, but he's actually going to take 2 tires, and that'll mix it up a little bit. We'll see if he's able to hold on to the lead.
I would assume that everyone coming down pit road using their last set of tires, we know the difference in tire fall off here just from 10 laps, 20 laps, 25 laps. Tires are very crucial here, but only half crucial to Sean Corcoran.
And I mean, that wasn't, do you know how many laps that run was? What, probably about 20?
Say around, we went green with about 30. I'd say close to around 20.
So you got to consider that with the Sean Corcoran machine taking 2 tires there. How much did the left sides, wear out in 20 laps? That might not have been as bad as we anticipated. It really comes down to what those guys are looking at when it comes to the tire data. If it's saying that your left side's worn out and you're down to if you're down to 70% on the left side tires, that 22 is not going to be able to barely hold on to that race car. But if he's still running about 90% or above on the left sides and he put on fresh right side tires, could be some speed in that 22. Nonetheless, though, it's going to make it interesting here on this restart.
Another thing I was going to say that's going to make the restart interesting. No one has had an advantage on Matthew Robinson all night on the restarts. Robinson's had the jump from the get-go. So it'll be interesting to see when Sean Corcoran goes and how much of a difference that's going to be for Matthew Robinson restarting in second rather than first. Looks like we're going to get the 1 to go. You'll see the drivers in front of the leaders taking the wave around. Now that's going to cycle. The 22 of Sean Corcoran with his lane of choice, or choice of lane, whichever abbreviation comes first.
Jeremy Horn. Oh, sorry about that. I was going to say Jeremy Horn, Gary Lewis, Dustin Carroll, and James Shainwolf were our wave around drivers. Going to put us down to 14 back on the lead lap now. But yeah, you mentioned it. Sean Corcoran taking the outside, Hunter. I'm a little surprised by that.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by it too. Looking through our chat there, fellow driver David Weishart saying, love the gamble. Loves the gamble from the 22 of Sean Corcoran. As he tries to dethrone what appears to be a near perfect night for Matthew Robinson.
I agree. You got to do something. It's been hard. We've seen nobody pass that 40 heads up all night long. You got to do something to get in front of them. I love the gamble as well. Get the 22 out there on 2 tires, and now let's see what happens. It's going to come down to these last 8 laps of the race. Pace truck is in, Hunter.
Yep, and there you see right from the get-go, Corcoran gets the jump, goes as soon as the pace truck goes in. 8 laps to go at Gateway.
Look at Jordan Hurley.
Hurley's now going to jump in front of the 40 and try to move down onto the lead.
And he's got a 4 set of tires. The 22 with the 2 tires doesn't look like it's going to hold, but the 40 has to now get around somebody, which he's not used to being behind somebody in dirty air.
Jordan Hurley to the lead at Gateway as they head into turn 3. Corcoran trying to hold on to second. He slides up the track. Robinson looking underneath for the second spot, but Jordan Hurley trying to set sail in the final laps at Gateway.
And that's how you steal it. He restarted 4th, and now he is the race leader 1 lap later. 8 laps to go here at Gateway. 7 laps now.
Laps are just ticking by the second here. Boy, it's a dogfight there for that 3rd spot. Corcoran trying to hold on. Got the Leo. Actually, excuse me, that's Eli Green. The Leo behind Eli Green. And then Trevor Williams trying to get past.
Williams going to make quick work of the 22 car to move the number 1 back into 3rd. They're looking 3 wide for 4th, but here comes Robinson for the lead.
Almost got underneath the 0-2 there. They're swerving all over the place in the back. Hurley trying to break up the draft on the straights here as we've got 6 laps to go now.
And not to mention, Matthew Robinson just ran the fastest lap of the race.
Don't count out the 1 to Trevor Williams. Whoa! Robinson gets sideways. He saves it coming off turn 2. And now here comes Trevor Williams trying to take the 2nd spot away. Big sigh of relief there for Jordan Hurley. He's got quite a bit of gap between him and Robinson.
And that's a substantial margin now. Robinson's got to gear it back together and try to put his head down and run 3 more consistent laps to catch back up to the 0-2. He put together a good 3 and 4 there. Already he's back to the back bumper, it looks like.
5 more laps here at Gateway for the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. Jordan Hurley been second fiddle all night, got into the wall quite a bit, trying to catch the 40. Late in the going, he gets around the 40, and now he's trying to hold him off here as we're getting closer to the checkers.
And then Trevor Williams, who got the short end of the stick on the restart, he's right back up into the mix now. He's working the back bumper of Robinson out of turn.
Oh, there goes Robinson! He spins out, coming out of turn 4. The caution's going to come out. Oh my goodness!
And we get
near
this
perfect night for Matthew Robinson. Ends in him spinning into the wall, taking him out of contention to win the night.
And this, we get to do it all over again now. A green-white checkered is what it's going to come down to. Robinson, you can tell how much these guys are trying to get these wins every single night. If that's not pushing it to the limit, I don't know what is.
He pushed it to the limit in turn 2. He had to gather it back up, and he did. He caught the 0-2 of Hurley, but coming through turn 4, he didn't want to make a move, or excuse me, he wanted to make a move. He didn't want to hit the 0-2, had a run going to the inside and just lost it.
Yeah, and here you see the replay presented by One to Go Studios. Robinson with a great run coming through turn 4 and tries to get underneath the 0-2 of Jordan Hurley. It was just too good to be true. Sideways, couldn't correct it. He goes around and brings out our 3rd caution of the night. That's going to set us up with a green-white checkered finish. But here, how about this, Hunter? 10th place on back is on pit road. They still got a set of tires left that they're going to take. Gary Lewis in the 69 is in. The 81 of Jeremy Horn is in. James Shainwolf in the 31 is in, as well as Dustin Carroll. All 4 of those drivers are putting on their final fresh set of tires, and they're going to get a chance to restart 10th on back and maybe try to get up there on this green-white checkered.
Yeah, they could try and get up inside the top 5. I would assume. But I don't know if any one of those drivers has a shot again to Jordan Hurley. Although I will say, though, now that we're in a window where we can only do a green-white checkered, looking back, Trevor Williams moves up to second, looking for his first win. Eli Green still looking for that win. Dominic DeLeo just looking for a better finish from last week in fourth. And then you got Forrest Smith in the top 5. All those drivers behind Jordan Hurley, second, third, fourth, and fifth, looking for their first win of the season. Gotta imagine that could see the bumper being used by either one of those guys.
Well, here's the thing. Trevor Williams has been so quick this second half of the race. I don't even know if he's going to need to use the bumper. He, got the short end of the stick, like I said, on that last restart. He had to make his way around a couple of slower cars, but then he was right back up there in the mix. And that 0-2, we saw him hit the wall a few times on the first run, and that seemed to have thrown off the speed a little bit for Jordan Hurley. I think it's anybody's race inside the top 4 right now.
Yeah, it really could be.
This lane change. Go ahead.
I wouldn't count out Forrest Smith or Sean Corcoran either.
No, I wouldn't either. But this lane change here, the lane selection for Jordan Hurley on this restart is going to be critical. Does he choose the top and let Trevor Williams get the inside going into turn 1 and 2, or does he make Trevor Williams start up high, but then on the flip side he's going to have Eli Green on his back bumper on a green-white checkered? I don't know if I'm cool with either one of those. If I'm Jordan Hurley.
Yeah. The better part about being the leader is that you have lane choice and you can go whenever you want to. I would assume he would take the inside line and get a better jump, and leaving the drivers on the outside.
It seems like the top side of the racetrack is where you want to be on that restart when you get down at the turn 1 and 2, because if you're pinched down there on the bottom, you're not going to be able to get the run down the back straightaway like you could up top. So it's really 50-50 in my opinion tonight. I think the top could be just as good as the bottom. It's all about how you use it, though. As we're coming to get the 1 to green, it looks like the 0-2, our race leader, Jordan Hurley, is going to select to restart on the bottom side of the racetrack.
If I were him, I would have taken the bottom also.
Like I said, I think I'm cool with either one. I really think they're 50-50. But you need to be on the top side of the racetrack when you get to the exit of turn 2. You got to get that launch down the back straightaway, especially on a green-white checkered like this. Man. So 20 minutes ago, Hunter, would you have predicted we'd have a green-white checkered with Jordan Hurley and Trevor Williams on the front row for the win?
No. But if I did, I would have won a lot of money.
Yeah. Not to mention Eli Green, by the way.
16 positions for the night.
Yeah. I mean, that's been quite the drive for the driver in the 28. And then old Don DeLeo, who's hung around the top 5 all night long, he's going to restart fourth. Hunter. Pace truck looks like he's about to head down pit lane for the last time.
Alrighty, it's going to be a green-white checker to settle it here tonight at Gateway. Does Jordan Hurley get the win? Does Trevor Williams get his first win? What about Eli Green or Dominic DeLeo? Well, we only got 2 laps here to settle it, and the 0-2 has got the jump. Green flag in the air for the final time at Gateway.
Good restart by Hurley. He's going to get a 3-car length advantage over Trevor Williams, but now Williams is going to have to deal with Eli Green and the rest of the field as they head down into turn 1 and 2. Williams on the top side of the racetrack trying to pinch down Eli Green. He's going to do so and get the run down the back.
Contact! There goes the one of Williams. Green's going to spin into Dominic DeLeo. A big wreck down the back stretch as Jordan Hurley runs away with it. The caution's out. The race is over. This race is going to go to the 0-2 of Jordan Hurley.
And we got a calamity of cars down the back straightaway, and that's going to be how this one ends. Oh, my goodness.
Well, they were definitely giving it their all 3 of those drivers that got wrecked on the second to last lap, they were all going for their first win. And, I mean, they left it all out there. They got a heap of sheet metal all over there on the backstretch. Woo!
And that completely changes the running order as well. I mean, we saw guys that were outside the top 10 now look like they're going to get a top 5 finish. Sean Corcoran's going to come home second, it looks like. Forrest Smith third, but here's a look at our replay here. It all started on the restart with Trevor Williams and Eli Green racing for second place. It's gonna get interesting here when they get down into turn 2. Trevor Williams did a really good job pinching Eli Green, and to Eli's credit, he did a good job staying off of the 1 as well. So they looked clean and green out of turn 2 there, and I thought they were going to be setting sail. Little bit of contact there, just connected both those cars, and around they all went.
Yeah, and it's just a melee there. Big hit there by the 87 of Nick Halda to the inside wall. But it started as soon as Jordan Hurley took the green flag, as the whole inside line got checked up. And Jordan Hurley's lucky he got that jump, because if he didn't get that jump, he messed up turn 1 and 2. And that could have been really bad had he not gotten the jump. But
yeah,
man,
oh, man.
What a way to finish tonight. The Gateway Arch 140, won by Jordan Hurley, who at one point seemed like he was just going to stay back, maybe get a top 5. Then the caution came out for JJ Wang, and that changed everything.
And if you're somebody like Trevor Williams and Eli Green right now that were waiting for that first win, you're going to have to wait another week. I'm sure those guys are heartbroken to try to give it your all and come home with the victory, and just not enough. But on the flip side of things, career days for Sean Corcoran with his second place finish, his best career finish. Forrest Smith gets a third, his best career finish. And then, Matthew Robinson somehow comes back to a 4th place finish with Gary Lewis rounding out the top 5. Hunter, what a race.
Yeah, big day for One Line to the Zion Motorsports. Both their drivers getting top 5 finishes. Matthew Robinson didn't pit. He said, I'm already back here. What's the point of me pitting anyway? And he still gets a top 5 out of it.
You know what's the most impressive out of everything that we saw there at the end? Brian Dixon, the 33, comes home 8th. Another top 10 to add to his season. Very, very consistent all year long. Moves him, he came into tonight 4th in points with 3 top 10s, no top 5s. Well, add another top 10 to his bucket. The 33 staying consistent. But our race winner, who's been everything, including consistent, the number 02, Jordan Hurley, gets it done here at Gateway. Jordan, I don't think 20 minutes ago you probably expected to be here in Victory Lane. Talk us through those last few laps in that green-white checkered.
Nah, I was pretty much ready to quit about 20 minutes ago, I'm not going to lie. I can't say that I deserve to end up here, but whatever. I guess it is what it is. You win some, you lose some. Yeah, I don't know. I was just lucky to catch that one caution, get my lap back off of a bad pit call by myself and my crew chief. And then, we got the caution to get our lap back, yep. And then, I don't know what happened on that second to last restart. I shot out of a cannon with my crippled car that I was beating and banging on all race. Ended up somehow getting to the inside of Sean down there into turn 1, and it stuck. And then we just kind of waltzed our way into Victory Lane after that with a couple cautions. So I didn't really have to fight for it. I don't know what happened to Matthew there. Hopefully I didn't screw him up or anything, but yeah, we lucked into that one for sure.
No, Robinson was getting all he could and just got, as he was making the move to the inside on the front stretcher, he spun the car out. But you mentioned that you have a beat-up race car there. You smacked the wall a good bit on the right side. When you made your pit stop under green, we noticed that you were 4 seconds back. Was it because of that damage on the right side and that you really didn't have enough time to fix the damage?
Yeah, I had, 40 seconds or so of damage pretty much the whole race after the first sequence, and I don't know, it seemed like I was losing a bunch of time down the straightaway. I don't know if it was just because I was bad. I was kind of lost out there today, I'm not going to lie. I didn't really have anything from Matthew, and it seemed even when I was back in traffic, I thought I was going to be able to make some time up, but I really couldn't do anything. Thought I was going to finish in 5th there for a while, so I didn't think I was going to have anything for that last restart, but whatever. It is what it is. We ended up bringing her home. I don't know if it was the damage or just me being a bot, but yeah, it wasn't going very well.
Well, you mentioned you were lost. You somehow found your way in the Victory Lane. Big day for you. That's your 3rd win on the year. Any special shout-outs or sponsors you want to give out before you go?
Shout out to Brad for a great job. What was he doing? He's race control. Shout out all my friends watching, Zach, Blake, and all my MXRL buddies, Cody, Conrad, Jeff, all those guys. And you guys, great job announcing. I watched back the broadcast. You guys do a great job, so keep it up.
Well, Hunter, I think I broke the commentator's curse, at least for me.
Yeah.
Yay! I picked you out of the box today, Jordan, and for once I didn't cause you to have a problem.
That's a real safe pick. You should. I wouldn't blame you for making that. I think we're at Darlington next. I'd highly recommend picking me for that racetrack. That's one of my favorites. So
Well, Jordan, I gotta say, you were my pick last week in Nashville, and then obviously did not have the night that you expected. And I'm superstitious about everything, so I just kept my mouth shut. And then after Harold made his pick, I'm like, that's the guy I would have went with had I not cursed him. So
Yeah.
Harold has uncursed you in the victory lane.
All right.
perfect. Thank you.
All right, we'll let you go celebrate. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
All right, that was your race winner. And now let's go to Sean Corcoran, who somehow finds his way in second. Sean, it's Hunter, Harold, and Jake in the booth. Got a copy.
Yep, 10-4, I got you guys.
Wow. So take us through that last restart, because you somehow navigated your way through all that chaos and got home a second place finish.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling it was going to go similar to that. I took 2 tires there on that last stop. I really didn't want the caution. I was kind of happy just running third there. But I took 2, and it was not the right choice. It was, let's say it was a little slick. So I was just trying to maintain and stay off everybody. There were a couple big moves there going into the corner, and I got shoved up high 3 wide. So I guess the caution ended up helping me in the long run there, but I didn't have anything for Matt. I know that he was pulling on me there at the end, so I figured I'd try something different and went with 2.
Well, like you said, the caution there at the end ended up kind of working out in your favor. But, I was wondering about the 2-tire strategy call, just how it would handle. And like you said, obviously super slick at a track like Gateway tonight. Kind of talk us through the earlier parts of the race, because, obviously we saw you running around 5th and 6th place at the beginning of the race. Looked like you had the long run speed there. And then what kind of led you into, trying to bank on the 2-tire strategy towards the end?
Yeah, I was hoping for a long run, like you say. That last pit stop, I was stuck behind a slower car there, and I lost a bunch of time trying to get onto pit road. I think actually it was the second green flag stop. So I lost a bunch of time, and I was able to get back in the mix with that caution. But yeah, I had decent long run speed, not enough to keep up with the top 2 there. But so yeah, it's kind of how it was. And then I just wanted to try too. I knew I wasn't going to beat them if I did the same thing as they did, so I just tried it.
Well, looking into tonight, as far as the playoffs go, you came into this race 15th in points after missing last week in Nashville. So I'm sure the second place is going to help you a lot in terms of your points position. This is the first time we got a chance to talk to you this season as well. You had a few top 5s, but first podium finish, Sean. Congratulations. Any shout outs you want to give before we let you go?
Yeah, I gotta thank the admins and you guys up there in the booth. I gotta thank Curtis and the guys at Samson, Northern Capital, and the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. So thank you guys for everything.
Absolutely, man. And congrats on your best career finish, second place, Sean Corcoran.
Thank you.
Then we're going to move it down now to third place finisher, Hunter. You've caught up with Forrest Smith and that One Mind to Design team.
Yep, Forrest, this is Hunter, Harold, and Ken in the booth. Got a copy?
Well, I think he's trying to. He's got his mic muted there.
I
Got a
think
copy, Forrest? Seem to have a little bit of technical difficulty here.
change the batteries out on the microphone. We'll be all right.
Yeah. One more time, Forrest. You got a copy? Just want to get a chance to talk to you real quick before we let you go. And I don't think we're going to get a chance to catch up with Forrest. It's a little unfortunate. One Mind to Design driver. We'll see if we can get to him after we go through our race results and wrap it up here, Hunter.
Yeah, let's go ahead and show everyone where their favorite driver finished. The first driver being Jordan Hurley, the O2, somehow, someway getting the win here in a crazy Gateway Arch 140. Second place, you got Sean Corcoran, just talked to. Forrest Smith, and third, we're still trying to talk to. Fourth place, Matthew Robinson, after smacking into the inside wall, gets fourth. And then Forrest Smith's teammate, Gary Lewis, for One Mind to Design, gets a top 5.
I'm coming. Okay, there we go. Sixth place, you got James Shamewolf somehow making it through the carnage on the back straightaway. Seventh place, Jeremy Horan. I believe that's his best career finish as well. Eighth place, Brian Dixon adds another top 10 to the bucket. Dustin Carroll and Trevor Williams round out the top 10 finishers tonight here at Gateway. Moving on to 11th place, Bobby Tinch, the last car on the lead lap. Nicholas Halda comes home 12th. Dominic DeLeo, after a great race, unfortunately gets caught up in the mayhem on the back straightaway on the second to last lap. He's going to finish 13th. 14th, Brandon Hedrick. And then rounding out the top 15 is Rick Ward in the 34.
Then the rest of the field, you got J.J. Wang, 16th. Eli Green, 17th. Mark Patterson, 18th. Adam Capps, 19th. 20th was Rick Christensen after a tough break there on the caution on the front stretch. And then 21st, Kevin Hayes. 22nd, Michael Leip. 23rd, Nolan Neiman, and 24th, Caleb Steimer.
And Caleb did not take to the green tonight.
It's a tough break there for Caleb. Let's take a look at your Elwood Designs race recap. Jordan Hurley gets the win, leading only 10 laps. We know that Matthew Robinson led the most. 4 cautions for 13 laps. Those cautions came at the very end, in which we all know cautions breed cautions. Then at the very end, the fastest lap went to Matthew Robinson with a 34.432.
What a race. From start to finish, man, this thing was exciting. We got another night of it tomorrow for the Northern Capital Truck Series. Look at the lights in the city. That's even cooler at night. So we'll be right back here tomorrow night, Hunter, for the Northern Capital Truck Series. I'll be in the field. We'll have Ken Kushwa and Harold Darner taking care of the booth. And then Wednesday and Thursday, we move on to the Daytona Road Course. Are you ready to go road racing at the end of this week?
I am really looking forward to the road courses. As I've played some of the racing games, whether it's Forza or the NASCAR Heat games, I really enjoy running the road courses. My favorite being Watkins Glen, but with the newer NASCAR game out, me not having iRacing, I love running the Daytona Road Course more than anything. So I'm really looking forward to see how that race goes.
With our green flag runs that we've been having, and I believe, Jake, you let me know, do we have cautions off for the road course?
Yeah, we got cautions off, but we will have a halfway caution in both races. So that'll be interesting to see in itself, to see how that all plays out too.
The Daytona Road Course is the NASCAR course, so we'll definitely see the field spread out a lot. I do know both the Cup car and the Xfinity car have a lot of horsepower, and they definitely have to worry about their braking going into all the turns. Jake, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that on the next broadcast, about about the braking into the horseshoe and all those different places. I remember talking to Chris Buescher about it when I was with the Roush guys, and he said that those cars do not want to slow down and they do not want to turn. So it would be interesting with that amount of weight going around the Daytona Road Course to see how you guys handle it.
Alrighty. And it actually looks like, real quick, we can get a chance, I think, to catch up with Forrest Smith, the third place finisher. Harold, we'll try to squeeze him in real quick, give him a chance to thank all of his sponsors as well, because obviously a lot of people put a lot of energy into all of this. So we'd like to give him a chance, and we'll catch up with third place finisher Forrest Smith. You got a copy?
I got a copy.
All right, we got you now. So sounding good. Third place finish, your best career finish of the season, and of your career in the first season of the Swift Lifestyle Pro Series. Talk us through that crazy green-white checkered, man, at the end.
All right. So for that green-white checkered, I actually missed a shift. I decided to restart in first, and I bobbled when I was doing the shifting. So it got me back to about sixth. And then all of a sudden I see a car spinning, and I see the 28 coming up, and he takes somebody out. And I thought he was going to come back and hit me, and I luckily got to miss that. Right.
As Bob sorry, go on. I didn't realize you were still going.
I was going to say I was going to finish P3 on that.
I was going to say, as Bob Ross once said, no mistakes, just happy accidents. Seemed like you had a happy accident right there. Missed a shift. It's all right. Had them going all over the place down the backstretch, and you navigated your way to a third place finish. Your teammate Gary Lewis also got a top 5, finished in 5th. And this is what I see is a home track for One Mind to Design Motorsports. So take us through how big of a result this means for not only you, but for Gary Lewis and all of One Mind to Design.
Well, for One Mind to Design, with me and Gary finishing top 5, this is our first time that us two cars have finished top 5 in the race. With our team owner, Drew Trader, and his brother living about 45 minutes away from the track, they consider this a big race, in their hometown race, of course.
Well, you two certainly showed out. You were definitely going to get top 10s, improvement after the chaos on the green and white checker here. Any any more shout outs you want to give out before you go?
Yes, I'd like to shout out to Drew and Nick Trader. Thank them for bringing me upon One Mind to Design Motorsports. I'd like to thank my teammate Gary Lewis. Me and him work a lot with how to build a car, with runs and all that stuff. I'd like to thank also James Shanewolf, Dustin Carroll, Adam Capps, Jeremy Horn. Those guys, we run with them week in and week out, and combine our what we get on the track. I'd like to thank One Mind to Design, of course, for sponsoring the car. I'd like to thank Tint Slime, and I'd like to thank Urbanix for being sponsors on the car as well, and for y'all making this league pretty great.
Well, we appreciate guys like you and Gary Lewis coming out and showing out at your hometown track for your motorsports group. We'll let you go celebrate. And speaking of Gary Lewis, he's got a war face on. Seems like every time we go to the track, and he's going to try and tame the lady in black, you and Gary Lewis there. Hopefully you two have a good run next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Forrest. That was your third place finisher, Forrest Smith. Guys, any final thoughts before we head out? I mean, it seemed like a pretty tame race, and then at the very end, it got real hot real quick.
Yeah, I think that'll be the trend probably tomorrow night when the Truck Series heads here, and I cannot wait to be a part of that. All that action. And Hunter, man, awesome job calling the race tonight. It was awesome to listen to and be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you get, you don't see that very often where driver leads the most laps and then wrecks himself trying to get back up there. And then the last lap chaos, especially on the backstretch. I mean, cars were going outside, inside, spinning all over. It was just nuts, but had a fun time being back in the booth. Like I said, every off week feels like an off month.
Yeah,
just getting back to the rhythm of it. And definitely had a fun one here tonight. The Gateway Arch 140 won by Jordan Hurley, dominated by Matthew Robinson up until the very end. And Harold, you got any final thoughts?
I will just be back here again. And as you talked about Rick Christensen, Cushy would be out here telling us that would be one of them Sasquatch awards that we give out on Tuesday nights. A driver driving around getting caught up in somebody else's stuff. That might be something happens again tomorrow night.
Yep, you mentioned it. Tomorrow night, you'll find the Northern Capital Truck Series racing at Gateway for 125 laps. And then Wednesday night, we'll find the Lodgebox Series going to the Daytona Road Course for 35 laps. That'll be an interesting one. And then Thursday night, we have the Sim Speed Shop Cup Series, in which it'll be me, Harold, and Ken on the call. And that'll be for 40 laps at Daytona. So from all of us here in the booth to executive producer Harold Darner, right-hand man Jacob Bell, I am Hunter Sleppy saying so long. See you tomorrow night.
What an exciting race brought to you by Wendigo Studios. Here they come out of turn 4 to the white flag, and it's 1 to go. Thank you to all our sponsors, drivers, and viewers. We'll see you at the next turn.